Hello world, my name is Dan. Hello world, my name is Dan. Okay. Hello world, my name is Dan. Ow! I mean, thank you, but ow! Ow! Okay, stop it! Thank you, but stop it! Ah!
Dan, what are you doing on the floor?
Processing the consequences of my actions. Hello. My name is Danominator. Who are you? I would have never dreamed in a million years that we would have over 2,000 subscribers already. Because I can't live that long, but rest assured, I'm very happy to have you all here and even more excited to indoctrinate you into the Chibi-Robo franchise. I mean, entertain you. Yes, that's my plan all along. But before we get into all of that, first, we gotta look at the clock. It's June.
December.
Which must mean it's time once again to look at my favorite games I played last year. Only this time, we're gonna mix things up a little bit because you might have noticed we didn't have one of these videos in 2024. Yeah, you guessed it, we've got 2 years of games to look at this time. Yep, definitely doing this for variety's sake and not because I ran out of time and energy to finish the video last year. I would never do that. Only problem is that my last 3 major videos were pretty critical. I guess the way to appease the algorithm is to just generally be pissed, and this review series literally has positivity baked right into it, so guess I'll die. Don't worry, I never really liked that guy. Ooh. You all know the drill by now. I'm only counting games that I beat in each specific year, released in any year, on any console. Although this time, I'm actually gonna save my games of the year until the very end of the video. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna put them wherever I want again. Whoops. That said, we are gonna start with 2023 and end on 2024. And since a good few of these games were actually played live here on YouTube, you're gonna get to see some stream footage this year as well. So without further ado, let's start things off by answering the call of the wild. This feels off. It's like something's missing. Oh, right, I usually try to snap my fingers, and then I try to snap my fingers, and then I try to snap my fingers, and then I try to snap, 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 snap. Oh no. Dan, please don't do this. Please don't rip off the Band-Aid this early. I said please. No, this was not my favorite game of 2023, and I have a feeling that this in itself may be my most unpopular opinion to date. I know how many 10 out of 10s this game has scored over the years, and I am not trying to discredit those in any way, but I have to admit that it didn't quite grab me the way I expected it to. That said, this is a favorite games video for a reason, so don't worry, I definitely have a lot of positive things to say about it. First off though, yes, I'm aware I was extremely late getting to this game. Despite getting it about a year or 2 ago for about half price on a holiday sale, I have to admit, I was still kind of hesitant to put the time into Breath of the Wild.
The Wild? Whoa!
Yes, Breath of the Wild is big, and it feels big as you're thrown into a massive world where every corner hides a new discovery. It's exciting, and a lot of fun to take in for yourself. Most of the time. A few of my friends are not open-world game fans, and an even lesser group are completely opposed to playing them for fear of being overwhelmed. I never understood what that kind of sensation would feel like until I played this. ADHD completely took over as my playthrough devolved into a string of distractions that sometimes went for hours on end. And yet, apparently, somehow I still managed to go through the intended route throughout the game. Minus the part where I got lost in the desert, but let's not talk about that. Funny enough, I think the only reason I didn't feel completely lonely and isolated was because I was playing this live. Having viewers to chat with, learning secrets and hints from other players' experiences. Yeah, this was a great game to make into my first stream series. Although it does make me question whether or not I would have enjoyed this game nearly as much if I'd been playing it on my own. But regardless, wow, what an adventure this is. On one hand, there were the breakable weapons, the controls, the stamina meter, the climbing in rain. But on the other hand, there was shield surfing, taming a horse named Chat, earning my master cycle, and defeating a guardian for the first time. I'll admit I've hit a point in a few Zelda games where I just wasn't getting the puzzle and got stuck, but that just does not happen here. Even if you're like me and tend to throw yourself at a challenge over and over again, there is always another way, always another solution you haven't tried. That kind of open-ended exploration is a testament to just how creative you can be with this game. It's funny, despite Breath of the Wild having the best story and character for any Zelda, second best, don't at me, this is very much still your legend. You get to craft your own story and decide how and when to tackle everything the world throws at you. And for that, I was more than happy to see this adventure through, truly understanding why people have been heralding its praises for so long. It's not perfect, but now I can totally see why it's legendary. Well, they did it again. Who's responsible for this? I don't know how this happened, man. I'm fully aware that this company has its problems and has seen its fair share of criticism, but every now and then, against all odds, for some inexplicable reason, Ubisoft releases a good video game. Even more unexpected though, the Mario + Rabbids series, because yes, this is a franchise now, has made my list 2 years in a row. The most interesting thing to me is that Sparks of Hope is here for completely different reasons than Kingdom Battle, because for all intents and purposes, this is an entirely different game. While the tactical element has been decidedly de-emphasized, it's the strategy that is still very much here. I have to admit, I kind of missed the more limited damage values of the original game, where it genuinely felt like you were doing a little more planning before making a move. The mechanics of the first Mario + Rabbids are a lot more tightly linked together because of how linear the stages are. But I'm more than happy to trade off the linearity for a more traditional RPG progression system. Now you get to pick your battles and experiment more with your loadout before fighting enemies. And the sparks? Those cursed Rabbid Luma hybrid things? I actually kind of love them now. Their designs are still weird and probably always will be, but their applications in battle are so good. Combining their powers with your own weapons to mix and match effects feels like a more active extension of what was established in Kingdom Battle. I loved thinking about how to use elemental effects the sparks can give your weapons to chain attacks together. And just like in Kingdom Battle, figuring out how to do maximum damage to as many enemies as possible in one turn is extremely satisfying. What's even more surprising though is that there's even more to the game this time around than just battling. Ubisoft took a frankly narrow-visioned idea from the first game and really expanded it here, fully committing to the lore of this weird, alternate universe. Now there's fully developed planetoids with communities of rabbids and the other creatures that reside there, and again, I know how weird this sounds, but I can't help but compliment it. I'm a sucker for world building in my Mario games. Not to mention the worlds you explore are so much more interesting now. giving you far more collectibles and side quests to tackle as you explore. Presentation's off the charts too. This style of animation continues to be my favorite for the Mario universe. It's just so wonderfully bouncy and expressive. Not to mention, the soundtrack is just the best thing ever. Grant Kirkhope, Gareth Coker, and the legend herself, Yoko Shimomura, created a collaboration of compositions I can truly appreciate. Some of these earworms are my new personal favorite Mario tracks. Yearning to Bloom and Metagalactic Marauders are exceptional bangers. Now, unfortunately, all this excitement does come with an asterisk. Let's face it, Ubisoft as a company just kinda stinks. And this is the only game in this video that I'm going to specifically recommend you hold off purchasing until a sale. Fortunately, said sales are extremely frequent, and I just can't retract my recommendation for a game that's genuinely great. I'm actually really glad the developers got to make some documentary bits for this game. It's clear they have a lot of love for what they've created. Sometimes it's nice to be reminded that there's still real, caring people at the heart of these big-name studios. If they didn't, we wouldn't have seen Rayman again in the DLC for this very game, which is actually one of my new favorite campaigns in this series. Whew, had a lot more to say about this one than I thought. What can I say? Sometimes you just get the spark. Well, in a shocking turn of events, it seems we've entered the era of games I like to call Chibi-Robolikes. In case you're unaware of the series, which I am very fine and normal about, allow me to explain the core building blocks that make Chibi-Robo what it is. Your main objective is usually either cleaning, helping others, or both. Your exploration is tied to a unique moveset that differs from a standard platformer, and
I am small.
Well, lo and behold, an indie team highly inspired by Chibi-Robo and its defining traits has brought us what I consider to be the first completed Chibi-Robo-like in The Spirit and the Mouse. This game is just adorable and a perfect reminder of why I love these independent developers so much. The story centers around Lila, who just wants to make a difference and make people happy. This isn't an easy task for a little mouse, but her life is changed forever when she accidentally interrupts the work of a spirit guardian via electrocution. Yes, I'm serious. But fear not, no mice were harmed in the making of this video game. Lila inherits a few electricity-based powers due to the incident, and uses them to serve the little town of Saint Eclair, under the watchful eye of a guardian named Lumion. I'm gonna level with you here. I am extremely biased towards this game, but I make the Chibi-Robo comparisons with the most flattery possible, as the game wears its inspiration lovingly on its sleeve. Exploring this intricately designed little town is a joy thanks to the scale of everything, as is finding ways to help the people who reside there. Lila's electricity powers make for a wonderful addition to your mouse-like moveset, which kept me engaged the whole way through as I was climbing and scampering around Santa Clara. I love how this game actually gets you to think like a mouse sometimes, using smaller, cramped areas to force you to think of new ways to get around. Also, abusing the squeak button. Every future video game with a playable mouse needs a squeak button.
Do we have a squeak button? It's not going to make or break the game for me, but... Yes! Game of the year. That's it. It's already Game of the Year.
This game's nature is just so friendly and inviting, from the town itself to the Kiblins and people you assist, and even the soundtrack, which combines some very Paris-inspired instrumentation with a few spirited touches.
Ah, the French.
Honestly though, what really kept me going while playing this was the story. Helping the townsfolk, learning more about Lumion, meeting the Kiblins and assisting them with their work. It all just ties together so nicely. It all culminates in a lovely finale that I won't spoil here, but let's just say it made me feel some things. The Spirit and the Mouse isn't a long game, but it's a perfect example of how to use a simple concept to do so much. Thanks to the two-person team of Owlbloon for spreading the happiness in their own special way. Huh. 2 electricity-centric games back-to-back in one video? I better move this along, I'm almost out of puns. Head is easily the most puzzly game I've played in recent memory, one that flips the standards of game design on its head in all the best ways. You see, it's funny because in the game you decapitate yourself. As a robot that electrifies everything it touches, your task is to explore a massive facility, solving incredibly clever puzzles to do something. It's never outright explained exactly what you're doing in this facility, but that just adds to the intrigue of it all. What's even more impressive is how you use your only 2 moves to solve puzzles that should be pretty simple, but just aren't. Here's the thing. Your aforementioned head is the part that stays electrified, and you have 10 seconds to pick it up after throwing it. And these 2 mechanics are everything. You are constantly tested from room to room as the game messes with your intuition, tricking you into overthinking simple solutions. Spiked floors, retracting platforms, and even checkpoints are used against you, forcing you to think outside the box and leading to some of the greatest aha moments I've felt in a video game since Portal 2. Don't get me wrong, it can be frustrating, but when you start to think like the game does, believe me, it all clicks. Especially on the return trip, where you use everything you've learned to solve the trickiest puzzles in the game. Oh yeah, and did I mention that this comes from a game with 0 words or dialogue? We've got a regular Wall-E spin-off over here. Ooh, too soon? Yeah, a little too soon, sorry about that. Head is an impossibly clever experience that made me rethink everything I thought I understood about game design, and that alone was worth the price of admission. Yet another 2-person team on this one too, wow. How's that for a shocker? Oh wait, shoot, I already used that one.
Don't listen to me. Listen to the jungle. Can you hear it?
Yeah, the jungle.
Dude, what is going on? My chat, it's broken. What? YouTube, what happened to my chat? And what happened to the stream goal? Hey you, yeah, you, the listener. I'm gonna need you to just stop watching the video like a podcast for 2 seconds and hear me out, okay? Okay. You have not played this game. I repeat, you have not played this game. And you are severely missing out because Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is easily one of the best platformers I have ever played. It's crazy. Every person I've talked to who has it loves it, and it has a Switch version now. Yet somehow I barely ever hear anybody bring it up naturally, and that is absolutely criminal. What's even crazier to me is that the influences from this game can be seen all over the place. From the swimming mechanics I loved in Grapple Dog, to that oh-so-satisfying roll jump in Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. But there's one aspect of this game I can't compare to any other, and that's the stage design. I have never seen a 2D platformer tell a story through its level progression before, but Tropical Freeze pulls it off seamlessly. The actual story here is about as comedically thin as it gets, using these new ice-flavored villains of the week to get the ball rolling. But each world of this game tells a mini plot of its own through completely natural means. From a burning savanna, to an industrialized forest that turns juice into popsicles, to the frozen over DK Island, these levels are so diegetic and animated that you feel like you're playing through a Donkey Kong cinematic movie at times. The most impressive part, though, is that none of this visual brilliance ever detracts from the gameplay. Tropical Freeze takes a pretty good moveset from Returns, which coincidentally I also finished on the 3DS this year, and nearly perfects it while also preserving the button layout from Returns 3D. DK has never felt so fluid to control, and while he can be a little heavy and slippery at times, I found it way less of a problem here because the stages are designed to keep you moving at pretty much all times. Combine that with Dixie Kong and you have the easiest DK to keep control of so far. I'm not gonna lie to you, I died a lot in this game. Part of that was definitely brought on by some self-imposed challenges that added to the already chaotic nature of streaming.
I could just use this. That seems like a little overkill, though, for... Isaac, you just don't want me to use items on any of the bosses, do you?
But make no mistake, this thing is still pretty challenging, and I found the difficulty curve to be pretty alright, all things considered. I know we have Donkey Kong Banana! And honestly, yeah, it's about time. But if you haven't played Tropical Freeze for yourself yet, please consider picking this up first, whether on Wii U or Switch. I promise you, monkeying around has never been this fun. Congratulations to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for becoming my Game of the Year for 2023. However, there's one more game I wanted to highlight this year, and that was...
Welcome to Mario Kart!
Well, it only took 3 years for me to break my own video rules, but I'd say this was a worthy exception. Yes, I know this isn't an original game, and I know this DLC is controversial, but unfortunately I'm one of the few people who's been shackled to the sin against humanity that is Mario Kart Tour for the last few years, so obviously I was going to take at least a little interest in this. But let's get the obvious out of the way. Do I think that this DLC is the pinnacle of quality from Nintendo? No. No. However, I still want to give this DLC its time in the spotlight because I genuinely feel the product delivered was not only enjoyable, but absolutely worth the price of admission. That said, I think it's worth saying that there was pretty much a non-zero chance that it wouldn't be at least passable. These tracks are fun because Mario Kart 8 is fun. The Tour team had a very solid base to work off of, so I was never really worried about whether or not they'd be fun to play. Don't worry, I can see that the quality of the visuals and some of the hit detection could be better, and some of these tracks were clearly not designed for Mario Kart 8's physics engine. But I also couldn't be turned away from something this exciting. This was my Smash Ultimate. Seeing so many courses from across all of Mario Kart's history was truly a spectacle, and I finally understood the hype that Smash fans felt every few months when the next courses were revealed. Granted, not all of them are perfect, and please stop picking Toad Circuit for online races, it's not funny anymore, and there was definitely a bias towards tracks that had already appeared in Tour, but it's actually kind of amazing what just a change in game engine did for some of these. To be honest, this project has given me massive respect for the Tour team. I cannot imagine a world where this was easy for them. And contrary to pretty much everybody's expectations, the quality of these tracks and their presentation actually did improve over time, giving them a chance to go back and fix previous mistakes. Granted, the changes aren't that noticeable, but I didn't expect to see any at all, so it's gotta be worth something. Over time, I began to see this team really stretch their creativity in both Tour and the Booster Course Pass. They began making more original courses for Tour, adding more unique characters and karts, and then branched out further when the BCP came along. They even experimented more with the physics in 8's engine to make some courses feel completely brand new, like the Ice and Snowland and the Low Gravity in Sky High Sundae. We even got brand new characters to the roster, including ones who had never appeared in a mainline Mario Kart before, like Kamek. Since when does Nintendo add bonus value to their products just because they can? So glad my main Wiggler finally made it over. And the remixes, oh my goodness, the remixes. I already liked a lot of the original tracks in Tour, but these new arrangements are absolutely up to par with Mario Kart 8 standards. Also, hate me for this if you want, but this decently priced pack of courses doubled the $60 game's course count to 96. Although I have no idea why I mentioned that, totally irrelevant, I'm sure. If you haven't picked up this pack already, I highly recommend it. Kind of feels like a Nintendo official custom track Grand Prix in a way. And even if you don't want to, you can still hop online to experience some of these tracks for yourself. Maybe on one of my streams, perhaps? Well, either way, I'll still be playing this game for years to come, so I hope to eventually see you on the racetrack.
Adam is dead? No, that's impossible. I saved him. He was supposed to grow up to be a star athlete or a scientist. How did this happen? It's all because of me. I need to put everything back the way it was.
Time Loader is a slow and methodical puzzle platformer where you explore a large house as a small robot and try to save your creator's life by changing the past to alter the future. And honestly, that's about it. This is another one of those games that won me over with its simplicity, along with being a little more quiet and muted than the rest of the games I played this year. The most complicated it gets is with the puzzles you solve to get through the house and a couple of quick time event type deals. But I really appreciate how most of these puzzles don't feel very video gamey at all. They're a natural part of the house you explore, which helped me feel much more immersed in the story going on here. What really struck me about Time Loader though was the sound design. Both the look and feel of this game were clearly well thought out, but the sounds of everything you interact with is what really impressed me. Rolling across all sorts of objects as this robot is weirdly satisfying, and I have to imagine a lot of the work went into designing the visuals and effects for the house. But if I went into much more detail, I'd be spoiling things for you. So I'll just recommend you get this on Steam if you're interested. The Switch load times are kind of the worst I've seen on this console, and I have to imagine there was a lack of optimization going on here. But that's really my only major complaint aside of a few small bugs. This game is pretty solid despite being a short experience. I hope you pick it up if you get the time.
I get a job!
The Kirby guys made this. Yeah, I don't really need to explain myself further, do I? Oh, alright, I guess I could talk about how Part-Time UFO started out as a surprisingly competent mobile game. And I guess I could tell you that the Switch version blows it out of the water with landscape and controller support. And I suppose I could mention the lovely pixel art aesthetics and the absolutely adorable soundtrack. But like, come on. It's HAL Laboratory. Of course this game was going to be incredible. Part-Time UFO is pure catharsis for anyone who's been burned by an arcade crane game, because the difference here is you can actually win. The gameplay is extremely simple, but that doesn't matter because of the varying objectives and areas you're doing jobs in. Collecting cows for a farmer, balancing animals at a circus, building a robot for a mad scientist, and wasting hours in the Tower of Infinity, which I still haven't finished. I think what really kept me enjoying this one for so long is the aforementioned presentation. The pixel art is charming enough, but some of the objects and characters are made up of independent moving parts. I love how everything reacts to being picked up and pulled around. And I have to call attention to the soundtrack again, because it is absolutely the heart of this game. That little whistle and vocal jingle that appears in each song is everything. I sincerely enjoyed this game. Also on my phone back in the day, but even more so on a console with controllers and widescreen. My only complaint is this one bug I ran into during a boss. Oh wait, actually, that's pretty funny. Nah, my only actual complaint is that we haven't gotten a full-time UFO yet. Nintendo, hire this spacecraft.
Hello, main character from Dust Aspersed.
Hello Chibi-Robo from Chibi-Robo Ziplash.
So, remember that thing I was talking about earlier? Chibi-Robolikes? Well here, check this out. You're a robo, and you're
Small.
can't get much more Chibi-Robo-like than that. Dust Aspersed comes to us from Minty, who brought this game to my attention through the Chibi-Robo Discord. And after playing through it myself on stream, yeah, I can totally see why. Aspersed includes all the ingredients I talked about in The Spirit and the Mouse that make a Chibi-Robo inspired game so great. But it adds in one final secret sauce that I neglected to mention before. See, the progression of Chibi-Robo depends on his battery, which increases as you purchase upgrades throughout the game. This leads to a natural gameplay loop where the more you explore and help the people around you, the more your work is rewarded, and the less you have to interrupt tasks to charge your battery. This progression ties in wonderfully with your ability as a player, as you learn how to get around more quickly, spend less energy, and generally gain more confidence in your movement as you find more places to explore. Dust Aspersed matches this quite literal energy perfectly in my opinion, putting you in control of a housekeeping robot who has a massive cleaning job to do. This is our metallic cat protagonist, and I named her Nyancy. I love games that give you a short intro and then just let you out into the world to figure things out. Ah yes, back in my video game comfort zone. Big house. This game gels with me so much as a Chibi-Robo-like, but has plenty of unique ideas to its name. The exploration is much more like a standard 3D platformer, but with the added strategizing that comes with a limited battery system. Not only are your major objectives tied to cleaning things throughout an intricately designed house, but you also have dust clouds to worry about that drain your battery through static electricity. Very clever. The movement in Dust Aspersed is a lot more zippy too, especially when you gain access to the ribbon, which lets you grapple to certain surfaces and even charging outlets. That is when this game won me over. It blows my mind that a game with this much movement tech, hidden collectibles, and areas to explore was designed in a single month for a game jam. I don't want to spoil anything further about this one if you'd like to play it for yourself, which you can do right now for free. But I did like it so much that I decided to call up the developer to get some additional thoughts.
Hey Dan, thanks for having me. I'm glad you liked my game. I'm Johnny, developer of Dust Aspersed.
Welcome to the channel, Johnny. Glad to have you here. So, I gotta ask, why Chibi-Robo? What inspired you to make a game like this? And while you're here, are there any other projects in the pipeline we can look forward to seeing from you?
Dust Aspersed is an idea I've had rattling in the back of my head for maybe a couple of years now. I really liked the idea of getting around a large room using a needle and thread as sort of a hookshot. And while Chibi-Robo and other games from my childhood like Zelda or Mario have always been a big inspiration for me, I was also heavily inspired by Pseudo Regalia by Ritz, when that was made for Metroidvania Month Jam. So I thought, hey, I really want to make a short game in Godot, an engine I'm still getting the hang of, and I have this idea that I think is achievable. So I took a long vacation from work and joined a Metroidvania Month Jam myself. I think the Metroidvania style of progression and Chibi-Robo style of exploration work really well together, especially for something small scale like a jam game, and it's something I'd still like to continue exploring in future projects. Currently, I'm working a full-time day job, and it's hard to dedicate time and resources to larger projects, but I've not quite put down Dust Aspersed yet, and I think there's still more I'd like to do with the character. So while I don't have anything specific to announce at this time, if you liked Dust Aspersed, I'm hopeful I'll have more to share with you all someday.
Oh wow, Pseudo Regalia. I'm actually still making my way through that one myself. Really looking forward to finishing it. and hope to see more projects from you in the future. Thanks for hopping on. Oh my gosh, it's back. No, wait, this can't be right. Jelly Car? On my Nintendo Switch? From the original developer, no less? In this economy?
At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country...
I have no idea what possessed Wallaber to bring this series back from its over 10-year hiatus, but I seriously could not be happier. As a Jelly Car 2 enjoyer on my Nintendo 3DS via DSiWare, I have to say it feels surreal having a modern entry in this series. Everything feels as silly and bouncy as I remember it, and the physics are absolutely perfect. I also found myself liking the new limited power-up system a lot more than I expected. These levels feel a lot more skill-based than I remember from the previous games. What's even cooler is, as I worked through the aforementioned worlds over the last couple years, yes, I know I hop between games too much, don't judge me, I got to see this game flourish with new updates that came out way more frequently than I expected. Since launch, Jelly Car Worlds gained additional modes and challenges, extra levels from previous games, and even a level editor. Wallaber clearly had a lot of passion for bringing this series back, and it shows. The fact that all of these updates were free is proof enough of that. It's classic Jelly Car just how you remember it, with enough twists and extras to give it its own identity. And you know what that means? Ah yeah, the acapella sound effects are back. There's even a sound pack in here made entirely by Wallaber's daughter, who goes by the name Dollaber. This is adorable. 10 out of 10 game right here. Jelly Car Worlds might just be the best $8 I've ever spent on the Switch eShop. But it's available on Steam too if you want to upload community levels to share with your friends. Either way, one of the best game franchise revivals I've seen in a long time. If you have any memories of playing a Jelly Car game on your old phone, please do yourself a favor and pick this up. Assuming everyone saw my Games of 2022 video, you guys already know my policies by now on buying brand new Switch games. I don't. Then again, this applies to how I spend my money on stuff like this in general. I don't buy day one releases, I don't buy them from common storefronts, and I don't buy them full price. Nintendo and I have a rather complicated relationship as of late, and it would take a really impressive game for me to break all three rules at once. In 2022, that breaking point turned out to be Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which ended up being totally worth it. And look, I'm not saying this is becoming a yearly tradition or anything, but I did it again. I managed to find an exception in the form of a remaster I've secretly been anticipating for years, and you'll never guess what it was. Super Mario RPG is good. It's really good. Mind you, I'm talking about the original game on SNES. Sure, some things about it are a little antiquated compared to what we have nowadays, but you have to remember what the very landscape of gaming was like when this first released. Platforming? In my RPG? Button timed attacks? In my RPG? A quirky cast of lovable characters? In my RPG? Oh, well, wait, no, that was already a thing, never mind. What I mean to say is that Super Mario RPG took what was still a barely established genre of game and infused it with pure Mario bliss. Except, that's not completely true, is it? It's not pure Mario, it's something completely new and unique. And after Nintendo and Square went through a falling out, and a certain Star Road representative went missing from the only other game he'd appeared in, I wasn't sure we'd ever see this game again. But it's here. Super Mario RPG is here. And not just that, it's really good. Granted, I have a couple of gripes. Some of the aforementioned action commands still don't feel as kinetic as what we'd eventually get in the Mario & Luigi and Paper Mario games. And the completely silent text boxes and lack of sound effects sometimes stand out more in a remake that otherwise sounds this good. And yes, the game stutters more than it should in some spots of the overworld. Really starting to get tired of mentioning this for Switch games. Oh yeah, and the box art is... But with all of that being said, I couldn't stay mad at this game if I tried. It really is that charming to me, and it feels nice to have finally finished it after emulating it on my 3DS back in high school to near completion. Almost feels like a prophecy was fulfilled or something. I also find it poetic that this was the game to kick off the Switch's Mario RPG renaissance, considering this was the game to give us Mario RPGs in the first place. Just another example of how game preservation made me a future customer, by the way. I would have never bothered picking this up if I didn't have so many great memories of it from years ago. And this new reimagining is absolutely worth it, adding modern flourishes while also being extremely faithful to the source material. I love the new animations and cutscenes. And that soundtrack? Yoko Shimomura, you spoil me! Can't believe I got to talk about your work twice in one video. Oh wait, Mario & Luigi counts too, let's go! Super Mario RPG's remake is definitely a little easier, but it also adds in just enough extra to be the definitive version of the game for me. The trio attacks are a cute idea if a little broken. The new backgrounds for each area you explore are a massive improvement from the original. I've been enjoying the new tattle entries for each enemy, and I'm still working my way through the boss refights. And again, that soundtrack. Yeah. No question about it. This is my favorite game I played in 2024. I may not be as invested in my Nintendo Switch anymore nowadays, but I'm glad I didn't pass this up. Thanks for the memories, Super Mario RPG. Both old and new. Okay. Really stretching the limits of the term Chibi-Robo-like here, but this is the last one. I promise. This is the first game I've ever streamed on a launch day, and I don't think I could have picked a better one. Omochapon comes to us from one Sean the Miller, whose game was featured in a recent Wholesome Games Direct for roughly 2 seconds. But that was all I needed to get invested in a game like this. Exploring a giant mall as a collection of gachapon toys with none of the actual gacha gambling involved? Why yes, you may take my $15. As I explored each area and found new ways to mix and match the gacha toys' abilities, I couldn't help but feel an unusual sense of unease. Not in a bad way though. I think this game takes advantage of the scale and setting it's in to create something really unique. The mall itself is mostly uninhabited, so unlike Chibi-Robo, it's just you and the environment taking center stage. While each area you explore has its own store music, and the compression is a nice touch by the way, you'll mostly be hearing the ambient sounds of the mall and your various gacha toys. There is some peak sound design going on here if I've ever heard it, and this is why the isopod dominated most of my playthrough. Outside of the atmosphere though, I found myself really enjoying how this game handles exploration. While the gameplay and progression is pretty simple, it gets a little more interesting as you find more toys. You'll find yourself switching between them quickly to solve puzzles, sometimes even on the fly. While a few of the endgame areas can get a little frustrating if you have zero patience like I do, I still enjoyed myself overall, and I honestly think you will too. There's even some extra skins to collect and challenges to complete after the main campaign. Again, what makes this a Chibi-Robo-like to me is the scale of it all. You could even take it a step further and call this a spin-off of sorts, where you get to play as Chibi-Robo's toy companions. Maybe? Okay, I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I seriously enjoyed my time with Omochapon. If I've sold you on it, I guess you could say I gotcha. No? Anybody? Okay.
Let's go! Okay!
Hey ho! Behold my tale of woe about the brothers Mario. Both left to venture on their own, but in good time came right back home. Sorry, just suddenly felt the need to get into sea shanties for a minute there. I'm so happy this series is back. Even though Mario and Luigi was never in any real danger, it still felt like it had been gone for ages. So upon the announcement of Brothership, I took it upon myself to replay and 100% complete my second favorite entry of the series for the very first time. This was it for many of us. Alpha Dream's great swan song before they were swept up into a mess of repeatedly rushed remakes and a crossover that felt more frivolous than fan service. I miss these days. Dream Team sure as heck isn't perfect, but dang it, I just couldn't bring myself to hate it. I won't pretend this game is issue-free. It's definitely one of the slower entries in the series, and the giant battles are easily the lowest point. But the sprite animations, the battle system, the exploration, the character, it's all peak Mario and Luigi to me. I love the theming of Pillow Island, the 3D landscape meshing seamlessly with Alpha Dream's incredible 2D sprite work, the cohesion of saving the people of the island having a genuine purpose, and again, this battle system is incredible. This was the game that came with the first 3DS I bought, directly from Best Buy with money I'd saved up doing odd jobs back in high school. And man, what a game to start building my library with. In some ways, this is the perfect 3DS introduction game. Both screens are used pretty effectively, especially with Luigi's gimmicks in the dream world. 3D in particular is some of the best I've seen on the system, which only enhances the fully rendered environments meshing with 2D art. It even has a purpose in battles, which now take place in this rolling hill-style corridor that I really get behind, even though some enemy attacks take a lot longer now because of it. It also allows for more dynamic bros attacks. My only major complaint is that the gyro usage probably didn't need to be here. Honestly, that's half the reason the giant battles don't work for me. But despite that hiccup, everything else in Dream Team has a purpose, and it makes this world a joy to explore and battle in. Not to mention, Starlo is actually bearable in this one. Pretty sure she's decent to Luigi, at least twice. Look, I have to give her at least a little credit, she's trying. I really enjoyed returning to this game. Not just as a time capsule for the year of Luigi, but one I still treasure for its creativity, visual design, and heart. Good night, sweet prince. You've earned yourself a rest. I like video games, and that's why I made this yearly game review series a tradition in the first place. I want to keep highlighting tons of games from tons of different eras and even recommend some to you guys that you may have never heard of. I know the gaming industry is a little rough right now, but that's not going to stop me, and it shouldn't stop you from enjoying what's already out there. And actually, that is why earlier this year, I decided to track down some mini consoles. Now, yes, I know I have emulators, which I will always continue to attest for, but there's something very novel about just taking this little box with an officially licensed preset package of games on it and just trying them all out as if you were experiencing them for the first time. And for me, many of them I am experiencing for the first time, and I've really started to get to know these little boxes ever since I picked them up. For instance, this one has 30 games on it, this one has the previously unreleased Star Fox 2, this one is bad, but all can be modded, and all have some great games on them. I've actually been using the PlayStation Classics controller on PC, since they just use standard USB ports. As you know, I'm nothing if not a tinkerer, so I'm absolutely looking forward to getting the very best out of these little boxes and the controllers that they came with. And not just that, it's because of the SNES Classic that I'm finally starting to play A Link to the Past for the first time. Yeah, I know it took me getting a nostalgic piece of plastic for me to finally start trying some more retro games. But if you think about it, that unlocks a whole new backlog for me that I've yet to explore. So thanks to game preservation, and as long as the indies keep doing what they're doing, combined with the games I already have, I'd say the future is looking pretty bright. But unfortunately, that's all the time I've got for today. So until my next video, this is Denominator signing off. See you later, Ominators. I've got to get back to playing Super Mario Odyssey on my Nintendo Switch. Oh, sorry, this isn't my Nintendo Switch. This is my Nintendo Switch.